Is going on, everyone? We're coming into our week 7, going into week 8 QB rankings. A little bit of turmoil this week. Obviously, we saw a pretty nasty hit on DeAndre Johnson of the Generals, but our prayers go out to him. But overall, it's probably actually some of the strongest QB play that we've seen this week. Um, the 4 to 7 rankings can honestly be intertwined. Kind of went off some recency bias for a lot of them, but in the end, we saw Magoo, continue his MVP run. We saw Josh Love and Case Cookus put together some pretty decent performances. Cole Kelly with some clutch touchdowns, and MBT put together pretty promising drive towards the end. That an interception was really his only bugaboo. Suffered a lot of drops. Well, for ado, let's get into the quarterback rankings. We had 9 quarterbacks throw passes this week, and Trey Quinn threw a trick pass as well to Joe Walker for about 18 yards. Coming in at number 9, I got Kenji Bahar. Last week I had him at 2. Of all the quarterbacks that played this weekend, he was pretty much the worst one. 18 of 39, 216 passing yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 rushing attempt, 4 rushing yards, and 1 fumble. Like I said, real strong week. Mark Thompson really carried this team this week, putting 2 touchdowns on the ground for them. We saw some pretty nasty drops, but the biggest thing was Bahar. I think he had 5 passes tipped at the line of scrimmage, one of which led to an interception. It was just constantly seeing balls batted at the line. Was only watched this game once, so I didn't really do a full breakdown on him. Usually, I watch the games twice to really understand like the mechanics, watch it to enjoy it the first time, and then break it down even more after. But something about the arm angle, and from what I saw a little bit from Bahar, really his release. But you got John Atkins was just a madman. On that Memphis Showboats defensive line and really stifled even the run defense for a little bit. Bahar was under pressure all the time and couldn't really step into his throws the way he's been improving over the week. Everyone's entitled to a bad game. Let's see what happens next week. But this week, Bahar's at number 9. Coming in at number 8, I got Troy Williams. Last week he was 6. Once again, not the best output. The Maulers were really aided by Isaiah Henry and Josh Simmons in the return game, shortened the field a lot. That's why this game looks a little bit closer than it really was. Williams went 18 of 28, 148, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 11 rushing indents, 44 rushing yards. Now, Williams obviously went back to his legs a little bit more. Biggest thing for him is obviously keep the chains moving with his legs. But overall, outside of a Madre London 23-yard rush, there was no running game for them. Usually they're able to manufacture 25 to 35 yards with Groshek. London gets another 25 to 35 yards, and then Williams kind of takes them over that 100-yard threshold. This week, there was none of that. It was the Williams show. The Stars have a good defense. Adam Rodriguez, Carson Player, what's his name? Nasir Taylor, or Carson Taylor and Nasir Player, all solid guys on that front. But it really just, for the first time this year, we saw the Stars offense actually move the football. And when they're doing that, they're one of the best offenses in the league. So not a bad performance by Williams, but with that strong week of quarterback play, he's going to be our number 8 guy. At number 7, I got DeAndre Johnson, New Jersey Generals. Last week he didn't play. He was unranked. Reason why he's so low this week is workload. Really couldn't get much going. Obviously, he got hurt. Prayers out to him. Went 9 of 14, 89 passing yards, 1 TD, no picks, 4 rushing attempts, 9 rushing yards. Kind of they want to do this two QB system. I talked to Mike Mitchell about it from USFL, XFL News Hub, and they're really just being way too cute and conservative with him. Johnson, not the most dynamic passer, but we saw a lot of improvement in him this year. Him and Alonzo Moore have a good connection and whatnot. Had some bad drops from Brendan Bowman, and Woody Brigham dropped the ball once when Johnson was in. His running ability is still unmatched, but obviously him being hurt, another injury, this one to the head, neck area. We haven't heard anything back yet. The team hasn't released anything, so we're very curious to see what's going on with him. Obviously, his health and safety is our main concern. But it was a workload issue. Didn't play as much. Didn't get until got in one series I think in the first half. Led the team to a touchdown. But in the end, Johnson is the Generals QB1, and they continue to go to Laletta, and I mean he just keeps getting out to a slow start. Coming in number 6, Kyle Laletta, 9 of 16, 112 through the air. No rushing attempts, no rushing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. I mean, he turned it on in that second half. First half, I think he was like 2 of 7, 2 of 6 for a couple of yards. He had 2 bad drops, but in the end, Laletta, kind of put it together too little, too late. I really like that dump off touchdown they had to Darius Victor, a lot of pressure in his face and whatnot, and he was able to find the guy in the flat. Ultimately, I do think Laletta is probably going to finish the year out, especially with Johnson hurt again. Last week I had him at 8. This week I have him at 6. He definitely looks a lot better than last year. Obviously, the guy has NFL talent. He was drafted at Richmond with the in the 4th round, but in the end, DeAndre Johnson, as long as he's healthy, is the guy to go. Laletta is who he is at this point. Granted, these general receivers and tight ends dropping some easy passes, but Laletta had about 3 or 4 bad overthrows I counted. So we'll see what happens for New Jersey, but it doesn't look good moving forward. At number 5, I got Case Cookus. Last week I had him at 5. 18 of 30, 235 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 rushing attempts, 28 rushing yards. It's been about 3 weeks, but the offense finally scored a touchdown for New Jersey Generals. I'm not ready to put Cookus up higher yet. I think his play could have been a top 4 play, but I think that would have been a disservice to Cole Kelly and Josh Love. Cookus has the ability. Talked about it all year. This year he only got sacked. This game he only got sacked once. A decent amount of pressure, regardless. But he was able to will their way to a victory, 37-31 over the Maulers. They're still in first place. That Corey Coleman touchdown was a nice catch, a nice pitch and catch that they ran. Stars have one of the deepest receiving cores in the USFL. They're going to continue to make plays. They're going to continue to do a lot of good things. As long as Cookus stays healthy, 1, and 2, as long as that offensive line gives them about 3 seconds, anything can happen. And then number 4, I got McLeod Bethel Thompson, 24-42, 279, 1 TD, 1 pick, no rushing yards, no rushing attempts. I mean, almost 300 passing yards again. That last drive, gave them a chance to win. A lot of good throws. I saw some bad drops from earlier, but that combination of Sage Surratt, Johnny Dixon, and Jonathan Adams really is deadly. Sometimes the ball just breaks the other way. I felt like there were a couple calls that Memphis should have got, the DPIs and whatnot. I think that that incomplete pass that one of the receivers couldn't bring in towards the end really hurt them as well. With the showboats right on the tail, we don't know what's going to be happening with the playoffs in the North. It's kind of reminiscent of the XFL in the North right now. So a lot could be happening. Overall, I'm pretty excited to see what they got going on. MBT, I'm seeing a lot of fatigue. Obviously, we talked about last week. He's been playing football since May of last year in training camp with the Argos, and then CFL season, Grey Cup, and then now coming in my interview with Trey Watson, he's probably not at 100%. There's just so much wear and tear on the body that at this point we don't really know how effective he can be at 100%. So I'm very curious to see what's going on. I mean, he gave the Breakers a shot. Wes Hills, he's starting to look tired. I like to see more Anthony Jones kind of spell Hills. He's a leading rusher and a lot of carries, almost put up another 100 all-purpose yards this week. But the Breakers got Michigan this week in Week 8. Could be a good get-right game for them. Coming in at number 3, I got Josh Love, Michigan Panthers. Last week I had them at 7. 16 of 29, 264, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 5 rushing attempts, 3 rushing yards. A big first down conversion on a QB sneak. Big thing with Love, Reggie Corbin really helped him out. He had 78 yards rushing, but he was pounding the rock. Like, I'm telling you, just tough yardage. Guys are in the backfield. Love finding a lot of comfort in those mesh routes and those seam routes that the Panthers have done really well on this whole year. Trey Quinn and Joe Walker made a lot of plays for him. It was a good get right game. He improved mightily last week. Looked a little bit more comfortable and whatnot this week. He obviously won Offensive Player of the Week and he deserved it. Uh, the Breakers coming into town, man. This is a big one right now. Michigan's second in the North Division, but they could easily drop down once again if they lose. It's going to be a real gut check time for this team. They're in win now mode and whatnot. Joe Walker really going to need to step up even more than he already has. Obviously, they're losing Ish Hyman to the Maulers. Caden Davis has been a nice compliment as well, and Marcus Ball and Cole Hicatini have been real solid at tight end. Coming in at number 2, I got Cole Kelly, Memphis Showboats. Last week I had him at 3. 12 24, 146, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 2 rushing attempts, 0 rushing yards, 1 fumble. Really came down to those 2 clutch touchdowns at the end of the game. That one to Derek Dillon was awesome. Stood tough in the pocket, found him for a strike, and Dillon did the rest. Broke a couple tackles. Kelly's been good the last couple weeks, man. That's why I got him at number 2. This is kind of a nod to him, all the hard work he's been putting in, especially how bad this team wanted to use Brady White as their guy. Football don't work like that, and we're seeing it now. Obviously, Kelly's got his deficiencies. He's missed some easy throws, but the big thing about him is he's hard to sack. He's tough. He's able to stay in the pocket, and from there, you're going to see him make a lot of plays and give his guys a chance, and that's exactly what he did. He hit Papali, I think, had a 23-yard touchdown or something like that. That connection's looking real good, and they're utilizing him. And then Derek Dillon's one of the better receivers in the league, so good combination. Memphis 4-3 right now. I think they won 4 in a row. A lot of good stuff coming down from them, making that South Division very competitive. Pretty easy for number 1, Alex Magoo, back-to-back weeks at number 1, 16 of 23. 176, 1 touchdown, 7 rushing attempts, 22 rushing yards, 1 touchdown on the ground. Another great week. His numbers could have been way better. Jay Sternberger dropped a pass. Adrian Hardy dropped a pass. Deion Kane dropped a pass. And I think there's one more receiver. I saw LaMichael Petaway dropped a 22-yard first down that he dropped that he slipped on. That would have been a first down. In the end, we see a lot of the same from Magoo. It's Magoo magic every week. This guy is the best quarterback in the league. He's a front runner for the MVP. He's currently got 13 touchdowns right now through the air. Really thinking he's going to throw and pass Jordan Teamu for that 4th one. There's not much more you can say about Magoo. Overall, he's if he's having a bad game, he's wooling this team with his legs. He's got the Stallions in the driver's seat. They're 5-2 right now. They're gonna probably win the South Division again. Skip Holtz and him got a real good thing going on, even with a couple receivers out. Marlon Williams, obviously, we thought was going to be a big impact guy. He's hurt, so very curious to see what happens to him in the future. Overall, love what's going on with the Stallions. Really pumped about the quarterback play this week. It was really good. Kenji Bahar was the worst one, so you had 8 quality signal callers throw a good game. In the end, that's my quarterback rankings for this week. Short video, about 13, 14 minutes. Guys, as always, if you can share, subscribe, appreciate it. Other than that, have a great day.